Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Redditors who have walked in on their SO cheating, what were the next 30 minutes like? I walked in and she was acting very nervous. She also wouldn't let me walk to the room. It clicked and I got literal tunnel vision. Such a strange sensation. I don't remember too much, but the outer edges of my vision were black and I could only hear my own breathing. I guess I pushed her aside like she was a broom, thankfully didn't hurt her. Then I went into the room and realized he was in the bathroom. What I remember is I opened the door like a regular person. The broken door and her account say that I Hulk smashed the door open with my fist. I grabbed him and calmly escorted him out of the house without saying a word. He was bawling like a 12-year-old girl. I closed the front door, turned around, and told her she had an hour to get all of her stuff and leave. I watched Sports Center until she was gone. Adrenaline is a strange beast. I watched Sports Center till she was gone. Nothing takes your mind off things like some top 10. I just remember there being a not top 10 that day. The whole thing about it being in my room would duck me up. I'd be burning that bed. Ugh. I didn't walk in, but I was helping her study and grabbed her phone from between us to Google something. I was immediately greeted with a long string of explicit texts with her just friend. I set her phone down and left without a word. I sat in the fetal position beside my car in the parking deck for a good hour before I could even process it. We broke up later that day. She married him less than a year later, and they're divorced now. No happy endings for anyone in that story. We broke up later that day. She married him less than a year later, and they're divorced now. No happy endings for anyone in that story. Feel like this shows you are a good person. Most people would take this opportunity to win points regarding their divorce. Didn't walk in. Caught him leaving as I went over the next morning to drop something off. She was in her skimpy nightwear kissing him goodbye. First thing that actually flashed across my mind was I gotta get out of here or shit's gonna go down. I was suddenly aware how I have anger issues, and that got a concealed carry license, and that I was carrying a loaded gun at that very moment. Looked at his smug face. Looked at her panicked face. Looked at his smug face again. Turned and left. Climbed on my bike and sped off. I never rode as fast, as recklessly or as furiously as that time. I actually think I was trying to kill myself. I did crash the bike. I was in such a murderous rage that I kept thinking faster for some reason. I entered a curve way too fast and slipped while leaning / trying to make it. I got up, realized I was ducked up, then kept walking into the middle of nowhere. I sat in a clearing and remained there until a policeman found me. I told him what had happened and handed him my gun, telling it was best he had it because I felt the thing was demanding to be used. It was just my anger, at the time. Police officer was sympathetic, drove me to the hospital and called a tow for the bike. The ride to the ER, I got to chatting with him and his partner. 10 minutes go by and we are all laughing our asses off, lost in random conversation. Me and those guys are good friends to this day, and in many shenanigans we have been involved since. Regarding her, I never bothered to check. TLDR, got cheated on, gained best friends after trying to endanger self. Calmly went to the hardware store and bought all new locks for the doors. When I got home she was already there. Kicked her out. Changed locks. Thought you were gonna buy duct tape, gloves, and a chainsaw there for a second. I need my tools. I love to bind, I love to be bound. What you doing, honey? Oh, you know, crime rates in this area are on the rise. Thought I'd upgrade our locks. There we go. Can you just go outside and test them? Teach me anger management, please. I will ask you later. Be in a bad situation. React really badly. Make the situation 10,000 times worse because you couldn't control yourself. Suffer the consequences for that decision for a long time. Realize it wasn't worth it. Don't do it again. That'll be $10,000 thanks. You said she was already there, implying you walked in on them somewhere else that wasn't your house. This also confused me. WTF up. In the parking lot of her office. In the guy's van. Did it have a badass mural spray painted on the side? Because in that case she's blameless. I was pretty much just shaking and stunned, so I walked my bike home and just went, huh, well that sucks. She kept trying to call the house phone but I wasn't answering. Question. Do you think it's better or worse that they care after? It's worse when they try to fix it and come crying at you at work, school, home. Just piss off. You cheated. We're done. It's like a fuse blew and that's it. The connection is terminated for that level of conductory. Now leave me alone so I can heal and find someone else. Upvote for conductory. It was surreal. I reacted like okay, I'll wait in the living room while you finish. 3 days later I utterly lost my shit, still haven't found it. Hang in there. Life will get better. I didn't walk in on it happening, but I saw it coming and did everything I could to stop it, including telling my girlfriend that if the woman I suspected her having a thing with came to my apartment when I wasn't there, it was over between us. She constantly told me nothing was happening between them, so I gave her the benefit of the doubt. When I was out of state for a funeral a week later, I went through the Google Home app and noticed recordings of the Google Home speaker being used after midnight. I listened to them, and heard the recordings of my now ex-girlfriend and the other woman using my Google Home. I came back home 4 days later, had this on my chest for 4 days, and asked my girlfriend as we laid in bed next to each other if anyone came to the apartment while I was gone. She looked me in the eyes and said no. I said, again, was girl's name in my apartment while I was home for a funeral? She continued looking me in the eyes, laying inches away from me, and said no. I picked up my phone and played the Google Home recording, and asked her, then who the duck is this? She was a deer in the headlights. She couldn't speak for 5 minutes. I told her she was a liar, a manipulator, and a ducking coward, and told her to get the duck out. / Google Home was watching out for you, my dude. Google Homie. If she would have been honest, what would your reaction have been? Even if you scratch the liar, manipulator and coward part out, I think the get the duck out part still stands. I would have come to the same conclusion, because she did cheat on me that night, and I did tell her if that girl came to my apartment while I was gone, it was over between us. She left her FB open on my laptop I let her use for school. 4 years and an engagement. During the affair I paid her taxes and paid to remove her wisdom teeth, all while she ducked the guy I didn't need to worry about in our bed. In our room I paid rent. It really felt like getting hit by a bus. I couldn't breathe, threw up multiple times, and finally slept when I passed out drunk. Why do I click on threads like these? I'm so afraid to trust anyone, man. I don't know how I'd react to something like this, but I know it would duck me up and I'd be an emotional wreck, and I'm so afraid of that. Honestly, after my second time being cheated on, I am pretty sure I just can't love anymore, and it actually is comforting knowing I can never get hurt that bad again. Because I can never feel that good again. Smile. Found out he was cheating on me for 4 months while he was miles away. I was just angry as duck and punched a wall in my house. The morning after I found out, I went to work and I asked my boss to transfer me to another state. A few weeks after going to another state, I met the love of my life. And now we have a puppy and are getting a house together. Puppy. Kitty too. Wife of 6 years got a new job in medical device sales and was out of town for 3 weeks straight for training. The first 2 weeks went okay, but she had never traveled before, so it was difficult on both of us. I have several friends who work in the industry, and they all pretty much paint the same picture: lots of alcohol, lots of hooking up. It's okay, not my wife. She would never. But the next time we spoke, she could tell something was wrong. She had been talking about this guy quite a bit in our conversations, so I asked about him. Oh, he's nobody. Just another rep from another state in training with her. Regardless, that afternoon I got a text from him, explaining that my wife had told him that I was asking about him, and he decided to text me to reassure me that he was married, had 3 kids, nothing was going on. I bought it. And then, the night before she comes home, it happens. 4 a.m. I got a phone call from her, but in my slumber I sent it to voicemail. She was absolutely wasted and had drunkenly dialed my phone instead of his and left a voicemail. The voicemail consisted of explicit details of their sexual encounters that weakened since they will be traveling together in the future. The continuation of more sexual encounters were promised, including details on how she loved it when he did X to her Y and Z. I got out of bed, walked down the hallway to our daughter's rooms, 2 and 4 at the time, grabbed both of them and brought them to bed with me. I held them tight while they slept on each side of me, while I cried the remainder of the night, not for me, but for them, because their world was going to get turned upside down in less than 12 hours from now. I then got out of bed, logged onto her computer and, after a little investigative sleuthing, I forwarded every iMessage, every picture as well as the voicemail she drunkenly sent me to his wife. Edit, holy RIP inbox. So to clarify a few things, this is a throwaway account, so any questions regarding 5-day-old account, etc. are because of that. First of all, thank you for the support of fellow Redditors. This happened a while ago and I've moved on. It still hurts, I still haven't come to trust anyone fully yet, but really I have no interest. I'm only 36, so I'm just having fun working on being a better me. Regarding paying support, even though she makes twice I do, I pay support because it's my duty to my kids, regardless of what she makes. I'm not hurting for cash, not by any means. And neither is she. And yes, the court system is heavily flawed and biased towards mothers. In cases like this, the girls should be living with me. But again, thank you for being awesome, Reddit. Then what happened? Yeah, don't leave us hanging. Come on up. Replied to another commenter. Here you go. Wish it was better, but I was emotionless at the time. Wife gets home the next day. At this point she doesn't know I know yet, but she is obviously stressed about something. I wonder what that could be. To me, there was a lot at stake. We had just built a new house, had 2 daughters, dog, everything. We closed on our house. I had to get power of attorney to sign for her, while she was gone for training, and I moved us into the new house. She left one address and came home to a totally different one. I go about my business like nothing has happened, unpacking boxes, etc., just waiting to see how many lies I can catch her in. Also, my divorce attorney said that the worst thing I could do was leave, as that could be considered abandonment. I needed to make the absolute best case I could for my daughters. About a week goes by and I have caught her and documented dozens of lies. I also have found new reason to believe that he wasn't the first and only now. All of a sudden, out of the blue, she gets a call from his wife. I have never seen someone go that white that quick. She was ducking frozen with fear when she answered. I told her that she messed up the best thing to ever happen to her. She had it all, adoring husband, 2 wonderful kids, a beautiful home and a successful career. And she threw it all away to duck some douchebag from New York because she got caught up in the money and the atmosphere. She cried, I cried, and when I told her I was leaving her, she locked herself in her car and cried for about an hour. Her rebuttal was that she loved me and we could work it out. The best part was that since her job was all about character and perception and how her physicians saw her, that getting a divorce because she cheated on me with a coworker in the first few weeks of her new job would tarnish her character. She was so worried about perception and how she would be looked at in her new role, completely glossing over the damage she did to me, herself, and most importantly our daughters. That did it for me. I was out. He was fired from the job for misconduct. She should have been too, in all honesty. Last I heard is that his wife left him, took the house, the kids, everything. I fought and fought and fought for my kids. She was suffering depression, was a borderline alcoholic, and she traveled overnight on average 150 nights a year. Everything that those girls didn't need to be around. But being the father, I already had that going against me, and the courts still sided with her. The girls live with her in the same house I moved her into. I make great money, but I couldn't afford that place on my own anyway, and figured it would be best to try to keep things as normal as possible for them. I get to see them every day when I pick them up from school and when she is traveling. She makes double what I do, yet I still pay her child support. It's a wonderful world. I fought and fought and fought for my kids. She was suffering depression, was a borderline alcoholic, and she traveled overnight on average 150 nights a year. Everything that those girls didn't need to be around, but being the father, I already had that going against me, and the courts still sided with her. She makes double what I do, yet I still pay her child support. God damn it, divorce law system sucks. Sadly, it does. My step-sibling's mother was given custody even though she was a known drug user and seller. She had them take drugs to the cars of the buyers. She was also incredibly abusive, an alcoholic too, would often get in physical fights with her boyfriend. Put needles in my youngest stepsister's drawers, physically abused my stepfather, tailgated and drove aggressively, stalking my stepfather and the kids, in the car, for an hour, and they still let them go with her when he was an ex-police officer, an upstanding citizen, and could afford to look after them, SMH. This is some of the saddest shit I've ever read. I hope things get better for you. Holy shit, that's enraging. I am very sorry to hear that she got custody. Duck whoever decided that. This system is so ducked. I hope things go well, mate. Goddamn. The bias against fathers is simply gut-wrenching when one hears the individual stories that demonstrate it. I don't know if you ever experienced divorce in your childhood. From what you've said, however, it seems you made it as comfortable as possible for your daughters. Good on you for that. I understand the hardships you helped them avoid. Fun story. I'm a bit late to the party, but I'll share anyway. Had a buddy that I had not seen for a while come to town. We were going to meet up and go drinking, but I ended up having to close because someone called in sick. Buddy goes out and parties all night. I tell him to call if he needs a ride. Get the call at about 3 AM to come get him at some chick's house. He gives me the address, and it's my girlfriend's address. She lives with her sister, so I thought he went home with the sis. I walk in the house and head to my so's bedroom, and guess who's there? My buddy. Should have seen the look on her face. It was priceless. Buddy asks what's going on. I tell him let's go and tell her to kindly duck off. She's crying and Buddy is starting to get the picture. Tell him she was my girlfriend, of about 5 months. He feels terrible and is apologizing profusely. I tell him we're even if he buys me breakfast. So we go get breakfast. I look at it as he did me a favor, nothing to feel bad about. TLDR, caught my buddy diddling my girlfriend, made him buy me breakfast. Best story here. Thanks. Honestly, I didn't even think anyone would read it. The saving grace is really the fact he didn't know I wouldn't be pissed off at him in that case either. Yeah, for real, if I was that buddy, I think I would have exploded when the picture started to form. I fucking hate to betray a close friend like that. Breakfast is a cheap payout, but I'd still feel like shit. Was on a brunch date after staying the night at her place. Some Irish dude was flirting with her while we ate and drank. I got up to take a shit and smoke a cig. I'm halfway through my smoke when she walked out the door holding hands with the dude from the bar. I wasn't even mad. Even waved as she left. I calmly sent a text saying we were done, which she didn't respond to until the next day. Apparently, I was overreacting, according to her. I laughed, hung up on her, then left to join my friends on the week-long camping trip we had planned. You did not overreact. Either she was cheating or trying to make you jealous. Either way, it's a shitty thing to do and you deserve better. Thank you. I know both of these reasons why I wasn't mad. Not worth losing my head over. And you are right. Her ex-GF was a friend of mine before I ever dated her. The ex said she often used jealousy as a weapon in a conversation we had after the fact. Edit, it was also definitely cheating. She didn't see my text because she was busy ducking him. I'm sorry, but this made me actually laugh out loud. Who the duck does that? No need to apologize. I laughed too, asking the same question. And she expects us to be a couple after that? Daduck? Walked in on my best mate with my girlfriend of 7 years. All alcohol-fueled intense anger, yelling at him to get out, fight broke out, noses were broken. Then he left. Overwhelming sadness, disbelief and then crying from me. Her profusely apologizing, then getting overwhelmed and worked up herself into a crying fit and locked herself in the bathroom. I don't recall how, but I knew she was in there with a razor. Broke open the door to find she had slit her wrists. Me on the phone with the ambulance while trying to keep her conscious. Ambulance arrived with the police, they took her, and the police left after I gave a statement. I was left alone sitting on the couch covered in blood, the house destroyed. In tears. Took me a long time to recover from that, and changed me forever. Jesus ducking Christ, man. I'm sorry you had to endure that. I sincerely hope it helped you grow as a person at least. Jesus, my man. Heavy shit. Yowza. Did she pull through? Who cares about her? All we care about is how Op is doing. You/snout in the dark wants to know if she's available. I'd steer clear, she's damaged goods. Ha 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 ha, I'd say Op would say go for it, but since he's a nice dude he probs won't wish it on anyone else, smiley face. Kinda late to the party, but here's my story. Was with my girlfriend for 3.5 years. She spent the weekend with her friend. I trusted her because at the time it was my longest relationship and I didn't have a reason not to trust her. I didn't walk in on her, but one day she mentioned how she wanted to go see him again. That next morning I said, hey, can I use your phone to call my dad? Mine is messing up. I went through her messages and he said, I loved the way you blew me. Along with a bunch of other stuff. I walked back in the room, woke her up and said, we're done. I felt shitty at first for going through her phone because it was wrong. Then I went to my best friend's house and got drunk and played video games. It was actually a pretty fun day after that. My ex before that cheated on me with a roommate we had moved in with us. I was downstairs watching TV and heard them in the bedroom. I knocked on the door and she pretty much told me to duck off. I moved out the same day into my friend's place. Got drunk and played video games. Every girlfriend I've ever had has cheated on me. Video games haven't though. I don't mean to sound condescending, but maybe you're picking the wrong girls or picking girls for the wrong reasons. Batting 1.000 in getting cheated on isn't the standard. Sometimes it's just bad luck, I guess. My first GF cheated on me and talked bad about me to her friends despite me always being there for her. Second, and most recent ex, cheated on me. Given different circumstances from my first GF, I forgave my recent ex and things were okay for a few months before it spiraled into a horrible year. Speaking from experience, don't get into a relationship with someone you don't have to work for to sleep with. I've been in a few serious long-term relationships, and if you sleep with her without breaking a sweat, then she'll sleep with someone else without breaking a sweat. Every girl I've had to work for are the ones who were 100%, to my knowledge, committed. It was always my fear of being tied down that drove us apart. I've since addressed that issue. My advice for Op would be to start turning down more easy girls and start working towards something with someone who is worth putting in the work for, because nobody is worth getting cheated on. I was cheated on by my ex-GF of 2 years. We slept together the first time we met. I was good to her, took her places, bought her things, gave her a financial and emotional crutch. She still ducked the first guy who gave her attention. Sometimes hoes are just hoes no matter how much they tell you they'll love you and will change. I think people may have misinterpreted your comment, but I get what you were trying to say. My exes were pretty easy, which was a red flag. Though being easy doesn't always mean they'll cheat. We had other issues too. I have a friend who has a 1-month rule before she sleeps with a guy. She had a baby with one guy, they were together for about 5 years and he still cheated. She found out cause their daughter told on him. I guess some people just wanna watch the world burn lol. I slept with a guy the first night I met him. We wound up dating for 1.5 years before parting ways for 6 years. Reconnected and 6 years later we've been married for 1 year and always joke about how he was the one night stand who wouldn't go away. I ducked him day one cause I wanted to. I didn't cheat because I didn't want/need to. I should really be saying to avoid people who always duck day one. Obviously sometimes it happens because it should and it works out and it was meant to be. I'm happy for you too. Sounds like a great story. I'm okay with this addendum cause I don't always duck the first day. Just sometimes. Lol. Not quite the ask, of course, but similar. My ex always stayed up way later than me because of his shift patterns, so I'd gone to bed around midnight and he was up watching TV. For whatever reason, I couldn't sleep well that night and was in and out for a couple of hours. About 2 a.m., I hear the bedroom door slowly open and I'm about to ask him if he's coming to bed when I realize he's just standing there in the doorway. I'm guessing he couldn't see that I was awake in the darkness. Then he inches the door shut so it doesn't make a noise. I hear him put on his shoes and the front door slowly, carefully open and close. He came back around 4 a.m. to find me sitting on the sofa and just about shat his pants that I was awake. I just knew and his reaction confirmed it. We broke up that night, but he was never brave enough to admit to that occasion of cheating or the dozens more that came before it. That I had to find out from others. Then because we just signed a tenancy agreement, I had to live with him for almost a full year. Best year ever. That I had to find out from others. What is that shit anyway? Literally all my friends knew my ex was stepping out on me and didn't say jack till we broke up. It's worse than the actual cheating emo. This was so long ago that it is almost funny to think about because it made me a better person. I truly believe that. In college, my scumbag boyfriend's ex-girlfriend was in town and we were all at a party together. They were from the same hometown and had a lot of mutual friends. I got too drunk and left. He told me he was staying and would come over in an hour. I had a lot of friends there too who were keeping an eye out. I get home and immediately get a call from a friend that they snuck off together to his apartment. We lived in the same complex, so it was about a 4-minute walk away. I sprinted back to his place, my best friend sprinting after me, walked into his room to see them, and my best friend ran in and punched the girl in the face. All pretty much a blur after that. Some yelling, crying, punching a wall, then just went home and cried a bunch. About 10 years later, I wouldn't trade it for anything, a sobering experience and made me stronger. Edit, holy crap. Thanks for all the upvotes, my highest rated comment in my Reddit history. I would have posted this a lot sooner if I had known the attention it would spark, kidding. I am still somewhat friends with my college best friend, since a lot of you are asking, but we live on opposite sides of the country and our lives have taken us in different directions. But, you don't lose that bond very easily and she will always have a special place in my heart. I'm just confused about why she punched the girl and not the person who was cheating on her best friend. You save that one for the person cheated on. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.